We've just finished watching our coaches go head to head. Now let's head upstairs and let's talk strategy and tips for 24.3. And in this video, we're going to talk about strategies and tips to help you execute your first or your redo attempt. Now, I'm going to break this video into two avatars. Avatar 1 is for those who are not likely to get to the second half of this workout. So for those who are not likely to get to the heavier barbell and the bar muscle-ups, or those who might just be making it within the 50-minute time cap. Avatar 2 is for those who are very likely to get to the second half of that workout, or maybe even finish this workout. First thing, let's talk about setup and floor plan. Super easy. Remember, you can have someone help you with the barbell. So if you have the ability to do so, I'd recommend setting both bars up, executing the first bar and the chest to bars in close proximity, have them as close to each other as you can within the guidelines, and then have someone basically just swap those two barbells out for you in your 1 minute rest. Or if you don't have anyone to do that, then you can swap those bars out. I would not recommend having to mess around with changing weight plates, etc. in that 1 minute rest. Second thing I would just say is that 1 minute rest, guys, it's a bit of a booby trap. It doesn't really mean anything, and that's going to disappear in a second. So really, you got to look at this workout like it's a 10 rounds of time, and at the halfway point, the gymnastics gets more complex and the barbell gets heavier. Let's talk about Avatar 1, those who are not likely to proceed to the second half of this workout. In terms of strategy and pacing, every single repetition counts. But the way to look at this is you got 15 minutes to try and get those 5 rounds done. So what I would do is I would break that 15 minutes up into, okay, how long does that give you per round to complete? Well, 5 rounds within 15 minutes is going to be 3 minutes per round. So in your warm-up, I want you to break that down. You know, how can you perform one round within 3 minutes, but trying to keep heart rate as low as possible? What I would be looking at here is just breaking your movements up a lot from the start. Okay, if you think that you can get through the first 5 rounds and potentially accumulate some reps in the second round, well, same thing. You know, if you want to leave yourself, let's say 1 to 2 minutes on that second part, then you just factor that in. How long, therefore, will you have per round to complete your first 5 rounds? And just make sure you do a warm-up round and play around with it. Just remember, if you're going into bigger unbroken sets and thinking about giving yourself rest in your transitions, what that means is that your heart rate is going to be spiking higher and higher and higher with every set that you work a little bit closer to failure, versus breaking all of your sets early, keeping your heart rate down and not having to take longer rests and transitions. So just something to think about. I would always lean towards the latter. In terms of pacing and breaking, pace around your limiter. So what I mean by that is if the chest to bar pull-up is the limiter or the hardest movement for you here, then you need to break up your thrusters even more so that every time you get to the chest to bars, even if you're doing them in singles, you're going to be able to do them the best of your ability with as little fatigue as possible. So thrusters, stay nice and close to that barbell. Play around with power clean versus squat clean. What's the easiest way for you to get into your first repetition without it being too complex? The squat cleans are not something you feel comfortable with yet, or they're a bit 50-50. Muscle or power clean it up and then start moving into your thrusters. If you're someone who can rest in the overhead position, then you might be able to hold on to the bar a little bit longer. If you're like me and you've got tight shoulders, you're gonna be wanting to drop that bar and rest when that bar's not in your hands. Chest to bars, use a riser if needed. We don't want to be jumping up a long way to that bar every single time. It should just be a little hop, which will allow you to hold a nice tight body position without your feet hitting the floor. So use boxes, build up pads on the floor, be safe, of course, watch those ankles to make sure that you're just not using unnecessary energy just to get up and down from that bar. Remember, singles are still a good strategy. Let's move on to Avatar 2 now. Those who are likely to proceed to the second half of this workout. When it comes to strategy and pacing, it's really simple. The key for you guys is to be as fresh as possible for the second 5 rounds, the heavier barbell weight and the bar muscle ups. Everyone is going to move through that first 5 rounds in your field of competition. So the key for you is keep your heart rate and fatigue down as low as possible so that when you get to the heavier bar and the bar muscle ups, you are fresh and you're actually able to execute them. There's no bonus points for finishing the first 5 rounds faster. So in almost all instances, and I've watched CrossFit Games athletes like Ant Haynes do this workout already who broke everything from the start. Just break, especially in those first 5 rounds. And for me personally, I want to be getting to the start of the second half of this workout, the heavier barbell, and really feeling like a 6.5 out of 10, because really that's where the workout is going to start. Pace around your limiter. So if chest to bars are your limiter, or you don't feel highly proficient with the movement, then make sure you break those thrusters early. So every time you get to your chest to bars, you're feeling fresh. If your bar muscle ups is your limiter, then make sure you are breaking those heavier thrusters even more so than you think, so that you can execute those bar muscle ups as efficiently as possible. That's really the name of the game for you guys. It's all about breaking here. If you are someone who cannot perform Fran comfortably unbroken with chest to bars, then absolutely no reason to be thinking about performing your first 5 rounds unbroken. I mean, I don't think there's many athletes in the world who will be going unbroken in this workout unless they are top of the top. So that's it, guys. Hope these tips and strategies helped. Remember, check out our live head-to-head where Ant takes on Meg, and we do some live commentary there, so you guys can, actually have a look at how they broke it up, as well as a bit of interviews after on what they thought the workout and what they recommend for you guys. Good luck, everyone. Final week. Let's do it.